Let's not beat around the bush. What just came out of Buckingham Palace is the kind of thing you'd expect in a soap opera, not real life. According to source close to the royal inner circle Verisno, an official demand for DNA tests. On Meghan and Harry's children, yep, actual DNA tests. Not for fun, not out of curiosity, but to settle a question that most people assumed was already answered. Archie and Lilibet, really their biological children? That sentence alone sounds crazy, right? But this isn't just a nonsense floating around Twitter. This demand is said to come directly from behind palace walls. And the reason allegations that Meghan may have fagged her pregnancy with Archie, staggered, fabricated, acted out like a performance for the public. What we're talking about is not some light-hearted conspiracy. If true, it could be one of the biggest public deceptions in royal history. But before we jump into whether any of that is real or not, let's break down how it even got to this point. Because this didn't happen overnight. I will say that, like a lot of people, I saw Getty images of the pillow dropping bend the skirt, and I thought at first the could be photoshopped, but Getty Images is very reliable. For years, people have whispered about Meghan's about her bump-changing shape, her walking around in stilettos during her third trimester, and squatting in ways no pregnant woman normally would. At the time, those whispers were brushed off. People were told to stay quiet, don't be rude, don't be insensitive. But the whispers never really stopped, they just grew louder. Now fast forward to Todan. It's not whispers anymore, it's a full-blown demand for proof. A royal DNAist request isn't just rare, it's unheard of. Royals don't do this in public, they don't air their family drama like laundry on a clothesline. But something behind the scenes has clearly pushed the palace past its breaking point. What would someone say to say Thetriger wasn't some sudden suspicion? It came from a review of historical records. Think photos, video stimulants, everything about Meghan's first pregnancy was reportedly revisited, and let's just say the deeper they look at more cracks they found, inconsistencies, missing records, contradictory statements, things that just didn't make sense. So are you saying that he's 2 weeks older, and so I thought maybe that would allow time to wean the baby away from a birth mother if a surrogate was used? It would make sense a bit. Instead of lying to the world, why not to say we want a baby, we're having a baby, and we're using a surrogate? Here's where it gets more intense. Acting to certain royal. There's no official record of Meghan delivering Archie in any hospital under her name. Nothing signed off by royal physicians. No public documentation that aligns with what was claimed at the time, which is wild considering how documented royal births usually are. There's usually photos, interviews, a statement from thigh doctor or something. But in this case, a big suspicious blank. And let's be clear, saying a surrogate is not the problem here. Plenty of women around the world choose that route for legitimate maternal, medical, or emotional reasons. The issue is the cover-up. Allegedly the version of events that was sold to the public. If a surrogate was used and Meghan and Harry had just been upfront about it, the conversation would have been totally different. But if they pretended otherwise, if they built a brand and a public narrative around a pregnancy that never happened, that's not just misleading, that's manipulation on a global scale. Don't pull that rubbish at holidays because people aren't buying it. It's sewing. Remember, this isn't just about two celebrities. These are people tied to the monarchy, a system that thrives on bloodline, legacy, and tradition. So when questions arise about the legitimacy of that bloodline, it shakes the whole foundation. The public wants answers. The palace wants certainty, and at this point, Meghan and Harry might not have the option to stay silent anymore. The royal family isn't new to controversy, but the Sony cuts deeper than usual. At the heart of it isn't just Meghan or Harry, it's about what the crown represents. The monarchy isn't built on popularity or adorn image, it's built on heritage and legitimacy. That's why this DNA request feels so different. It's not just personal, it's institutional, and that makes it a much bigger deal. King Charles, now firmly seated on the throne, has reportedly been quietly reshaping future of the monarchy. Behind the scenes, he's said to be focused on trimming down the working royals, tightening protocols, and protecting the crown from any further embarrassment. The last thing he needs in the middle of history is more chaos tied to his youngest son. But when the question of succession and official royal roles came up, so did something else. Who exactly is in limp for those roles? That's when things reportedly took a sharp turn, because if Archie and Lilibet are to be included in that future, the palace wants to be absolutely sure they have the right tobe there, and that's what triggered the palace's review of the past. Nancy photos. The hospital reports the public timeline of Meghan's journey as a mother. What they found, or rather didn't find, is what's lighting this Verono: missing hospital documents, not physician records, and most damning of all, reports of confidential documents obtained by royal advisors that suggest Meghan might have never physically carried Archie at all, instead of a record confirming her delivery. Insiders say the palace found nothing, no hospitalnum, no signed-off document from royal medical staff, not even a trace off standard maternity procedure, which is really unusual for a family that documents everything down to the last of flowers. The absence of this proof is what's now being interpreted as something more than forgetfulness. It's being seen as a possible cover-up, and the public, they're not holding back anymore. Old clips have resurfaced online videos of Meghan's baby bump looking noticeably different within days. Memes of her squatting gracefully in heels with a belly that seems to shift shape like a movie prop. People are open likeling it bizarre, unnatural, and yes, fake social media is having a field day with comparisons, slow-down footage, and commentary that's more forensic than funny, but what's getting lost in the viral noise is the seriousness of what's being alleged, because if this wasn't a genuine epilepsy, then we're not just talking about deception. We're talking about a deliberate rebranding of a royal birth into a public narrative, a story of diversity and breaking old traditions, all built on what might have been a staged event, and it worked. Meghan and Harry received global praise, sold-out speaking tours, book deals, Netflix specials. They became the royal rebel Severian, rooted for, but if that story was knowingly built on a lie, the entire narrative begins to rot at its core. Harry, for his part, is in just as deep. He's been the loudest defender of their story, cutting ties with family, blasting media, and painting a picture of a couple under siege. But if he knew the truth and went along with it, the Damagato, his reputation might be beyond repair. This isn't just a scandal anymore. It's a test of royal integrity, personal loyalty, and whether the palace will finally force the truth into the light. No matter the consequences, pressure is closing in from every direction. The palace, once known for its silent dignity, has dropped gloves. Royal insiders, former staff members, and even commentators who used to tiptoe around Harry and Meghan are now openly demanding clarity. The message is loud. If the children are to be part of the royal future, the truth needs to be on record. No more speculation, no more curated interviews, and definitely no more selective storytelling, one seniorade reportedly summed it up bluntly. They've had years to set the record straight. If they won't do it now, the institution will. That's what's at stake here, not just family ties but the integrity of the monarchy itself. Fetty tells the honors, the roles, none of it can exist in limbo, and certainly not under a cloud of deception. For an institution that has survived worse abdications and divorces, this moment might be one of its most awkward yet, as it's not dealing with external threats but a mess created from within. Here's the catch: Meghan and Harry's silence isn't working anymore. What is said to be interpreted as dignified privacy is now seen as calculated avoidance. Every day they refuse to address the dinner request. Public doubt grows to many. A refusal is no longer a personal choice, it's an answer in itself, and if they complete the results, whatever they may be, will carry enormous consequences. If the DNA confirms Harry as the biologic father, it won't erase the deception allegation, but it could take some heat. The children, it might re-establish a sliver of legitimacy in the eyes of the palace, but if the tests suggest otherwise, if there's even a hint of contradiction, then this isn't just a scandal, it's a crisis of royal identity, a constitutional mess. No one is prepared to clean up behind palace doors. Prince William is said to be livid. He's reportedly furious at the damage done to the family's image and legacy. Princess Anne, ever the nonsense royalist, rumored to have called the situation a disgrace. And King Charles' word is his devastated. This was never how he imagined his reign beginning. Caught between love for his son and duty to the crown. But more than that, he knows how fragile public trust is right now, and can't afford to lose it over unverified lines and Netflix narratives. The most heartbreaking part: it didn't have to be this way. If Meghan had chosen honesty, if the story had been a boot strength choice, or even medical complications, the public likely would have stood by her. People are far more understanding than they're given credit for, but by turning a private journey into a polished fairy tale and then possibly faking parts of it for public consumption, the backlash has been inevitable. Now the royal institution is drawing its line in the sand. The message is crystal clear: no DNA, no titles, not proof, no place in the fold. It's harsh, it's cold, but in the eyes of the monarchy, it's necessary. Because the future of the crown cannot rest on blurred truths and sentimental PR. Is watching closely whatever Meghan and Harry do next, whether they submit tooth tests, deny it outright, or try to spin it once again, will shape how they are remembered forever, as victims of royal injustice or architects of their own downfall. Answer might come down to one swabone test and a truth that can no longer be hidden behind palace gates.